It's time for another spicy take, and this time we are on Twitter to a Twitter thread that I want your guys' thoughts on. Unpopular opinion. The Sims 4 no longer really needs a farming pack. With the addition of objects over the years, a functioning farm can be built as is. If one comes, it should be only a game pack or a stuff pack with a chicken coop and or milking stall cheesemaker. Now I'm gonna try to keep this as civil as possible because you're coming for me with this tweet. If you're not familiar with what my channel looked like before the big YouTube Kappa apocalypse in 2019, I used to shoehorn farming into pretty much everything I did in The Sims 3. It was my jam. I love farming, and I have to say The Sims 4 is not on that level at all. Did I fall asleep and perhaps miss the addition of horses or farm animals or anything that you can do on a farm besides gardening? Did I sleep through that? Because I don't really keep a close eye on The Sims news, but I think I would have heard of those things, right? Hey, wait, did I sleep through the addition of a country world that has some 64 by 64 lots so I can actually build a decent sized farm? Did I miss that? Newsflash, gardening isn't farming. Newsflash, eco lifestyle is not farming. Frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that I have to explain this to people, but there's gonna be some other things I have to explain as well. The thread goes on to say, a visual of the gameplay objects we have that fulfills the idea of country life as I've seen, known it, for an example of what I mean. There's tons of build by Kaz too. So they attach a picture of all these cool farming rural items, and I'm looking at this picture going, there's not even enough here to fill a stuff pack. So they say that there's tons of build and buy items, and I want to know what your qualification for that is. I'm pretty sure buckets and coolers and boxes of toys exist in other homes besides country ones. There's nothing about those things that blatantly screams country to me. And I don't know about you, but the eco lifestyle stuff would stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know anybody who has a fabricator or a trash compactor on their farm. So I'm a little confused as to why it's there. I mean, I'll give you a pass on the ugly dew collector and the ugly solar panel and the eyesore that is the wind turbine. I'll give you a pass on that because most farms want to live sustainably. I'd also like to point out that none of this fits thematically at all. There's industrial stuff from Eco Living. There's pastel stuff from Laundry Day. None of the woods match. None of the colors match. Like, if you want to run a bozo looking farm, sure, use these items. Now, I am making a video, and this was planned way before this hot take thread. I'm going to be making a video in the vein of my hobbies and activities video where I talk about all the really cool ways The Sims could do a farming, country living type of pack. And I'd like to say that there is way more to farming and running a farm and living on a piece of property than just gardening. Now, I don't want to give away everything here because what's the point of making the video if I spill it all in a different one? First off, let's remove all the animals. Let's remove all of the new gardening stuff we could have because we apparently have all of that now. What else does that leave us with? How about farmers markets or grocery stores? How about canning or freeze drying? What about country fairs or crafts like soap making, cheese making, sewing machines, pottery, basket weaving? Let's not forget the kids. How about we bring back the lemonade stand or the toy stove? Or how about playing in the barn or in the hay or making flower crowns? How about we bring back the picnic basket? What about chasing fireflies or bird watching? Foraging in the woods for wild edibles, tapping maple trees. This is just a taste of what I have planned for this video, but no, we don't need a farming pack because we have all this farming stuff already. So far, we've only talked about the post the original poster made. Let's talk about some comments underneath. It is already possible to build a farm in The Sims 4. Just look at all the builds in the gallery. Gardening has been updated, inventory too. So yeah, farming is possible and also possible to live off the land. This is kind of funny coming from a game changer that exclusively builds, that a farm is just essentially a building and you don't need anything to fill it. That's basically saying if you want a farm, just use your imagination. So if I want cars in the game, I should just get on the gallery and download a garage and then use my imagination. Because if we follow this logic, the garage is the most important thing. You don't need a car to go in it. So a farm is essentially just a building, and as long as we have the building, we can, in theory, farm. It doesn't matter if we don't have farm animals or really good farm crops or farm activities. The building is what's most important. Another game changer says, this because I feel like I'd rather see more interactions and hobbies and focus on family life the next year than a continuation of sustainable living, crafty, homey, eco type stuff. The only thing is, I'd still like a world like that to build in. As I'm going through these comments, I'm beginning to feel like this is a narrow-minded problem and not necessarily farming is a bad pack problem. It literally took me an evening to come up with my entire list of stuff for a country living pack. So the idea isn't a dud idea, it's just people are looking at this with too narrow of a mind. I'm also kind of confused because you're asking for hobbies and then you're like, well, I don't want any crafts. There are a lot of craft hobbies, and saying I just don't want crafts cuts out a lot of good ones like pottery. Let's move on to another comment. I honestly never thought of not needing a full pack until your tweet. I agree 100%. Like maybe a stuff pack for a couple things, cutesy farmhouse decor, clothing, but honestly there's so much already that can pass as being farmy. Your pick is also good evidence of that. Let's go back to that picture, shall we? Really ask yourself, how much of this stuff do I use on a regular basis? How much of this stuff is actually going to fit in a farm setting? If we're going to be really super honest, in a typical build I would make, how much of this am I going to use in a country farm style build? I'm going to probably use the laundry lines and the laundry bucket. I'm probably going to use the vertical planters, the bee box, and the insect box. And maybe the solar panels if I can find a place to hide them where I don't have to look at their ugly industrial selves. That's not a lot of items, and I know I'm probably completely different than other people, but my builds are never really cluttered. They're never really jam-packed with stuff. If I'm gonna have a farmhouse, a barn, a field where I can plant stuff, I'm not gonna have a lot of room to just shove random items places. To be 100% honest, a lot of these items are just way too big for the room I have. And other items like the bonfire or the pumpkin carving station or the fabricator, I just will never use. I know this is my own personal play style, but how many times do you plop down the pumpkin carving station? Real talk, most of the items in this picture I would never put on a farm because number one, I wouldn't have the room. Number two, they don't fit with a farm thematically, or number three, they just don't have enough engaging gameplay to warrant the space they take up. The next section I would like to call people who don't understand what a stuff pack, what a game pack, or an expansion pack actually really means. The amount of people saying that we could shove all of the farming stuff into a stuff pack actually made me laugh. Let me explain stuff packs for the people who don't understand. Stuff packs have one hero object. This is coming straight from a guru's mouth, that most stuff packs have one big interactable object and that's it. I'm not going to get into the fact that Laundry Day is an outlier and has a bunch of interactable objects. That is the exception, not the rule. Let's just get this out of the way right now. Horses are not going to come in a stuff pack no matter how much you wish they could. There is way too much going on with horses and their needs to put them in a stuff pack. Where does that leave us? Well, stuff packs have one thing, so you either get one animal or one hobby. Choose. There are actually people out there who say that just give them chickens and they'll be happy. So no new hobbies, no new skills, no new world, no horses, no new crops. You are totally okay with farming only ever being chickens. I'm gonna press X to doubt on that. We really don't need a farming expansion because one, there's only so much you can do with that, and two, it'll be watered down a lot more as an expansion than a game pack or a stuff pack. Let's talk about this. If you want a world and you want a normal, decent sized world with lots that you can put farms on, I'm talking about 64 by 64 lots, you're going to need an expansion. We've never had big lots like this ever in a game pack world. The biggest lot in most game packs is 40 by 30. Is that going to be an acceptable size for a farm for you? Or we continue using the 64 by 64 in Brindleton Bay, or I guess you could drop your farm in the lot on Del Sol Valley. Horses are most likely not going to come in a game pack. There's probably too much there to add horses to a game pack. They need stuff to take care of all their needs. And let's be real here, EA is not going to give away horses for $20. I know there isn't really a talked about line between game packs and expansion packs, but we just need to use our brains a little bit. Cats and dogs were $40, and I'm pretty sure horses will be a big enough draw that EA is going to say $40 for that too. I also don't see how you could squeeze skills, hobbies, animals, a new world into a game pack. It just doesn't seem possible to me. It's really clear to me the people that say we don't need an expansion, we don't need a game pack, aren't thinking about a new world. They aren't thinking about horses or farm animals or new skills and hobbies. They're just seeing farming and thinking gardening, we got that. We can build barns already. We have eco stuff. What do we need a farming pack for? If you thought about what you want and then what other people want, it's not gonna fit in a stuff pack. It's not gonna fit in a game pack. It's gonna have to be an expansion pack. And I know people don't want to admit that. We only have so many expansion packs left before the game is over, so why waste one on a farming pack? There's not enough to put in a farming pack. There's not enough to do. There's not enough to see. Well, really, if you think about it, there's plenty. You just need to open your mind a little bit and realize not every player is as narrow-minded as you. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video.